Winning every battle in our lives. Lessons learned from the War of Jericho. The famous War of Jericho, as recorded in Joshua chapter 6 verses 1 to 27, was the first war fought by the Israelites in their conquest of Canaan. This war is nothing short of a miracle because no weapon was used, and no fighting was involved. The Lord just commanded the Israelites to march around the city of Jericho for 7 days. After that, the city walls fell down by themselves when they shouted together, and the Israelites simply took the land without any fighting. However, we can see that this military success was not repeated in many other wars fought by the Israelites. So why was this military action so successful? Studying this incident, the following factors can be identified which contributed to its success. 1. The Lord is the only commander. Before the War of Jericho, Joshua, who succeeded Moses as the leader of Israel at that time, met the captain of the Lord's army. Immediately, Joshua submitted to his leadership, and followed him wholeheartedly, who would now act as the only commander of Israel. Joshua chapter 5 verses 13 to 14. Now when Joshua was near Jericho, he looked up and saw a man standing in front of him with a drawn sword in his hand. Joshua went up to him and asked, "Are you for us or for our enemies?" And he said, "Neither," he replied, "but as commander of the army of the Lord I have now come." Then Joshua fell face down to the ground in reverence, and asked him, "What message does my Lord have for his servant?" 2. All individuals follow their leader. When the Israelites followed Moses and left Egypt, they had been commented many times as rebellious by the Lord. However, after these people have all perished after 40 years wandering in the wilderness, their offspring who were born after their father's exile were more ready to obey their leader. When Joshua instructed them on how to fight this battle, every one of them followed, and there were about 600,000 of them. 3. No reliance on anyone's own strength. When the Israelites encamped in Gilgal before they entered Jericho, the Lord commanded Joshua to circumcise this new generation of Israelites. Then they took their first Passover feast in the plains of Jericho. After they had eaten the produce of the land, the food, manna, which they had been eating since birth also ceased immediately. Having just received circumcision and a sudden change in diet, the Israelites were probably not in their best physical conditions. As a result, no one was able to rely on their own strength during this war, and must therefore put all their trust in the Lord. Joshua chapter 5 verses 2 to 12. At that time the Lord said to Joshua, "Make flint knives for yourself, and circumcise the sons of Israel again." Now the children of Israel camped in Gilgal, and kept the Passover on the 14th day of the month at twilight on the plains of Jericho. And the manna ceased on the morrow after they had eaten of the old corn of the land. 4. No words of unbelief. After entering Jericho, Joshua instructed the Israelites to march around the city for 7 days. However, during this time, he forbid them to speak any word before the last day when he shall command them to shout. Hence, even though his war strategy sounded somewhat unimaginable, no one spoke any unbelief. Joshua chapter 6 verse 10. Now Joshua had commanded the people, saying, "You shall not shout or make any noise with your voice, nor shall a word proceed out of your mouth, until the day I say to you, shout. Then you shall shout." 5. Everyone unified in word and actions. The glorious moment came on the last of the 7 days when Joshua gave his command, and all Israelites shouted with a great shout all together. The city walls fell down by themselves, and the Israelites simply walked in and took the city. Joshua chapter 6 verse 20. When the trumpet sounded, the army shouted, and at the sound of the trumpet, when the men gave a loud shout, the wall collapsed. So everyone charged straight in, and they took the city. Winning every battle in our lives. Through the War of Jericho, I believe the Lord has already taught us all the essentials in winning every battle in our lives. 1. Trust in the Lord. 2. Take action at His command. 3. Do not follow instructions from any other source nor lean on our own understanding. 4. Do not speak any unbelief. God is always ready to guide His people. If we submit to His will, He can teach us, and we can also start to understand the wisdom behind His works. When His laws have been written in our hearts through these experiences, we will be more ready to receive His greater promises. Please see our other video, What are the Greater Promises? Proverbs chapter 3 verses 5 to 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct your paths.